Good morning, yogi. Welcome to part 2 of a 4-part weekly yoga series called EveryBODY Morning Yoga. My name is Carolynne and this is Nala, and today we're focusing on release. If you didn't catch the first week, don't even worry about it, all good. Welcome to week 2. So grab your yoga mat, grab your props, stay in your comfy clothes that you've rolled out of bed in, and let's get started.
Welcome to Yoga with Carolynne. In this channel, you will gain the tools, the knowledge, and the confidence to practice yoga, no matter your size, your age, or your ability to touch your toes.
So for this morning's practice, I tend to use a lot of props. So blankets, this is just like an extra bonus. Yoga blocks are going to be helpful. They are not required during this morning's practice. The bolster is what we're going to use more of this morning. If you don't have a bolster, a couple of pillows or a rolled up blanket will also work really well. I will also leave a link in the description box below to show you how to make your own yoga bolster. So we are going to start on our backs this morning. So making your way onto your back, please. Finding yourself on your back. If it feels okay, bring your eyes to a close. Do any sort of final last adjustments to make sure that the shape feels like a comfortable one. If lying directly on your back with the legs straight doesn't feel comfortable for the low back, you can bring a bend to the legs, bring the soles of the feet onto the mat, and then knock the knees in towards each other. The body just melt and release into the mat. As you begin to shift from an outward focus to an internal focus, noticing how you're doing physically, noticing any spots in the body that might feel a little extra tight, a little extra sensitive this morning, and also noticing how you're feeling mentally and emotionally. And then however you have shown up to your yoga mat this morning, let that be okay. That feeling frustrated that you wish you were more zen or you were more centered or whatever, it's all good. Release any sort of need to change or fix or analyze. And I know that's easier said than done. During this series, I have been offering you mantras. So if mantras are your thing, then I'll invite you to bring this mantra into your practice. If mantras are not your thing, then you don't have to take it. So release can be explored in a few different ways. Maybe you're looking to release a sense of control. Maybe you're looking to release some certain expectations. So whatever your answer is, I will let you create your mantra for this morning's practice. Repeat it to yourself silently. And then let that mantra begin to carry you into the in and out of your breath. Beginning to bring your attention to deepening and lengthening your breath. And then nice and slow, staying with that deep breath that you've just cultivated. Find some gentle movements in the fingers and the toes, and into the wrists and the ankles. And then bringing a bend to both legs and bringing your knees in towards your chest. You can enjoy that squeeze, that stillness of the knees in towards the chest, or you can rock from side to side. And then coming back into center, keeping the right knee in towards you. So bringing both of your hands on top of your right shin, and then bringing the sole of the left foot onto the mat. Release the shoulders here. Release the back of the neck. And then I'll leave it up to you as to whether you want to keep the left leg bent or if you want to release the left leg forward with the heel releasing down towards the mat. Take an inhale to feel that belly expand up towards the right thigh. And then an exhale to pull the right knee in towards you. 2 more times like that. Inhale. Exhale. One last time. Beautiful. And then allowing the right leg to release and the left leg to release if it wasn't straight already. Bringing a bend to both legs again. Soles of the feet come onto the mat. This time left knee comes in towards the body, grabbing hold of the left shin with both hands. Right leg can stay bent, or you can extend that right leg down towards the end of your mat. And we'll take those 3 deep breaths with the inhale, pressing up towards the left thigh. The exhale, hugging that left leg in towards you. 2 more times with your own breath. Beautiful. And then bringing both knees in towards the chest. Hugging both of those knees in, and then bringing the hands behind the thighs and begin to rock along the length of the spine. To eventually find yourself upright, coming into a cross-legged position. So once you find yourself upright, support your body in any way that you need here, bringing a block underneath of the hips or the bolster or a folded up blanket, and bring the fingertips down onto the mat beside your body. Press into the fingertips to find a little bit more length in the spine. And then I'm mirroring you here, so keep the right hand planted. Take an inhale to reach the left hand up towards the sky. And then on the exhale, tipping over towards the right, finding a side body stretch along the left side of the body. Press into that right hand to find a little bit more length, a little bit more stretch. And then take an inhale here. On the exhale, you're gonna begin to tip forward with the left hand reaching away from that front right knee. Keeping that stretch in the upper back, so really finding that stretch in the top shoulder. Bring that hand down and then begin to walk the hands center and then forward, letting your head drop. Letting the shoulders soften. Letting the head just soften. Don't worry about how close or how far your forehead is to the mat. It's not the point here, just release the upper back. And then nice and slow, walking the hands back into center. And then we're gonna switch the legs. So bringing maybe your not normal go-to foot on the inside of your cross-legged shape. And then the fingertips come back down onto the mat on either side of your hips. Press into the fingertips, find that length again. Left hand stays planted, reach the right hand up towards the sky. Exhale, tipping over towards the side. Take one more inhale to find that stretch on the right side of the body. And then keeping that length in the top hand, begin to tip forward. First, starting to reach that right hand away from that left knee. And then bringing that hand down and then walking yourself forward and center, releasing the forehead down. Soften the upper back, soften the back of the neck. And then nice and slow, pressing yourself back up and then coming into tabletop position, coming onto your hands and your knees. Once you make your way onto your hands and your knees, let's do one cat and cow pose here. So on the inhale, drop the belly down, gaze looks up towards the sky. Exhale as you roll up the length of the spine, press the shoulder blades up, tuck the chin in towards the chest. Coming back into a neutral spine, and then meeting me in a downward facing dog. So walking those hands forward slightly, spread the fingers wide. Curling the toes under to straighten the legs, send the hips up and back into your first downward dog of the morning. So find some movement here. Bend one leg, bend the other leg. Shake the head to relax the neck.
If downward dog is so totally not your thing, tabletop position is also a perfect option here. And then taking as many steps as you need to, walking yourself towards the front of your mat to come into your forward fold towards the front end of your mat. Let the head release. Take a few moments here. Arms are long. You can grab hold of elbows or you can place elbows on the thighs. Let the back of the neck release. Top of the head reaches down towards the mat. Generous bend to the knees here. They do not need to be stick straight. Take it easy. Keep it soft. Keeping that head nice and heavy, pressing into the feet. Take the longest inhale you have taken yet to roll up to standing.
Once you roll up to standing, coming into your mountain pose, your Tadasana shape with the feet underneath of the hips, that softness still in the knees, tailbone heavy, rooting down into the feet to rise up through the crown of the head. Connecting back in with that deep breath that you found at the beginning of the practice. If the eyes are closed, fluttering the eyes open. And if you've got a block, I'm gonna ask that you place your block towards the center of your mat. So you're in your Tadasana shape towards the front end of your mat. Bring the hands onto the hips. Bring the weight into the right foot. So really press down into that right foot. Inhale, lift the left knee towards the front of your space, and then take a big step towards the back of your mat, and then bring that foot down. We're gonna come into Warrior Two pose. So ground that back heel down as you begin to turn towards the left side of your yoga mat. Noticing that right knee, so open that right knee out towards the side, sinking those hips down towards the mat. And then opening the arms up into a T shape with the fingertips reaching towards the front and the back end of your mat. And then the gaze is looking above the right middle finger. A little trick that I like to explore when I come into Warrior Two pose, and if I feel like my shoulders need that release, flip the palms up towards the sky. That'll encourage the shoulders to soften down. Then you can flip the palms back down. Bring the hands back onto the hips. Straighten that right leg, and then bring both sets of toes towards the side of your yoga mat. Bring the hands onto the hips, press into those hips to inhale, find length in the spine, and then exhale, tip the hips back towards the back of your space. Bring the hands onto that block, or they can come down onto the floor, and then just release into this shape. This is such a wonderful pose to lengthen the back line of the legs, create space in the hips, and really, really encourage you to release the upper back, release the back of the neck. Find a little bit of softness in the knees here. Keep tipping those hips up towards the sky. Soften here. And then slowly, if the arms are bent, straightening the arms. Bring the hands onto the hips to press into the feet to come on all the way back up to standing. We'll get ready to come into Warrior Two on the other side. So bring your attention to your left foot. The left toes open towards the back of your mat. And then begin to bend into that left knee, opening up into the arms, adjusting the stance here so that your knee doesn't come in front of the ankle. You can do that trick again by flipping the palms up towards the sky, softening the shoulders. And then the gaze is above the middle finger of the left hand. And then bring the hands onto the hips, straighten that left leg. Bring the toes towards the left side of your mat again. And then bring your heels in. So your heels are in and your toes are opened out towards either side. And then begin to bend into the knees to sink the hips down. We're not gonna be doing like a crazy strengthening goddess pose. I would love for you to please bring your hands onto your knees. This is gonna be a really nice release for the hips here. And then begin to tip the right shoulder forward and twisting over towards one side. using that hand on the inside of that knee to find a little bit more space. And then come back into center and then over towards the other side. So keep the hips heavy here, keep the tailbone heavy as you move from side to side, exploring this shape. This is such a good stretch for the inner groin. I don't know why I felt like singing there. I apologize. Hope that didn't ruin your morning. Beautiful. Come back into center and then straighten into the legs. Ho, ho, ho. And then tiptoe the toes and the feet in towards the center of your mat. Move that block out of the way. Come towards the front end of your mat to come back into your mountain pose, your Tadasana shape. Enjoying that you've got 2 feet planted here and you're not doing anything funky with the body anymore. And let's inhale, reach the fingertips forward and up towards the sky. On the exhale, tip the hips back, come all the way down towards your forward fold. Bring the hands down towards the mat and step the feet back to come into your downward facing dog. Last down dog here. And then bring the knees down towards the mat. Swing the heels over towards one side and bring your hips down on the mat. And then bring your legs in front of you. And then grab hold of your bolster. You're gonna make your way down onto your back foot. I will ask that you bring your bolster into it and place your bolster on the outer edge of the left side of your yoga mat. And then make your way onto your back. Once you make your way onto your back, bring a bend to both of your legs. Bring that right knee back in towards the chest. And then press into the left foot to lift the hips up just high enough so you can guide them over towards the right side of your mat and then plop them down. Extend into that left leg. And then begin to use the left hand on the right knee to twist that right knee over towards the left. And then that's why your bolster is there, because you're gonna bring the bolster underneath of that right knee. Coming into a supine twist, a spinal twist. The right arm can reach out towards the side, or if you've got a little tiny space, you can bring a bend to that right arm, cactusing the right arm. Gaze can remain up towards the sky, or you can bring the gaze reaching over towards the right. And then how can you use your breath here to release and soften? If the gaze is over towards the side, bringing the gaze back into center, meeting with that right knee coming back into center, you can scooch the hips back into center. Take a second here in the center to do whatever will feel good. So you can just come into stillness, so you can bring the knees in towards the chest. And then grabbing hold of your bolster and placing the bolster on the outer edge of the right side of the body this time. And then the left knee comes in towards the chest, hugging that left knee in. Pressing into the right sole of the foot, just to pick up the hips, glide them over towards the left and then bring them down. Extend into that right leg, and then using that right hand to twist that left knee over towards the right, landing that knee onto the bolster. And choosing what you'd like to do with that left arm, and then choosing where you would like to place the gaze. Eyes come to a close. Just release into the support of the bolster beneath you. As you come into the stillness of this shape, what else can you release here? And And then from wherever you are, nice and slow, releasing out of that twist, bringing the hips back into center. Do any sort of final movement, final shape you'd like to take to release that. And then getting ready to come into your final shape for final relaxation. And given that you've got your bolster, a really nice option when coming into Shavasana is to bring the bolster underneath of the knees. It's such a nice support for the low back. So if you've got your bolster, then maneuvering that bolster underneath of the knees. It's extra impressive if you can do it without having to sit up and use your hands. Do any sort of adjustments you need to do with the body to be able to settle into this shape. Bringing the eyes to a close. Releasing into the support of the mat. Just soften. Letting this stillness, this peace, be what fills up your cup at the beginning of the day. Slowly bringing tiny movements into the fingers, into the toes. Rotate the wrists and the ankles. Take an inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Stretch the fingertips from the toes. And then rolling onto one side of the body here. Bringing one arm underneath of the head to support. And then slowly pressing yourself up into a comfortable seat. Bringing the hands into heart center, pressing the palms in towards each other, pressing the thumbs in towards the heart. And then before you walk off of the yoga mat and back into life and into your day, take a moment to choose what it is that you would like to carry with you from this morning's practice. Maybe it's that mantra that carried you through the practice this morning. Or maybe it's something else. Taking one last inhale together. One last exhale, let it go. Fluttering the eyes open. From my heart to yours, until next time, namaste. Thank you so much for joining me during today's EveryBODY morning yoga class. If you enjoyed today's focus, enjoyed today's theme, I have created a free phone wallpaper for you so that then you can get a little bit more inspiration during your day. That is free and it's downloadable. You just gotta click the link in the description box below. And I will see you next week on your mat.